the rest in a factory town. I was born in a hospital, the bricks streaked with brown. Into a working family, another child had come. In the shadow of the factory, where the work is never done, I came screaming to this life as the quitting whistle blew. Just like all the rest except my neon tattoo. Through lunch pails and layoffs, I grew up straight and fine. I took my place at the company when it came my time. But there was trouble from the beginning, I did not fit in. I couldn't walk the well-worn path where other feet had been. So I said goodbye to everyone. They said, you'll be back soon. You won't get too far with your neon tattoo. I harvested tobacco and processed smelly fish, painted fences by the furlong, cleaned garbage off each dish, mowed the grass around some condos until the winter came. And when I hit bottom, no one was to blame. So I hitched a ride to anywhere. My sign read Timbuktu. There seemed to be no future for my neon tattoo. Guy who picked me up said, where you headed, man? I said, I'm looking for some work here in the promised land. He laughed and changed the station on his FM radio. Well, he said, let me think, there's one place that I know. If you don't mind waiting in the intertidal goo, you can dig worms for cash even with that neon tattoo. That's how I met the Wormdiggers who ply the tidal zone, wading knee-deep in mud flats when the tide is low. There was Nate the Swede and Indian Joe and Jimmy the lobster thief. When the tide was high, the banjo played and we smoked that evil weed. But day or night when tide was low, we grabbed our buckets and boots, and no one ever talked about my neon tattoo. We dug along the tidal flats as far as we could go. Keep out, read the sign at the nuclear plant where the warmer waters flowed. Some folks said that was where the best worms could be had, but the diggers shook their heads and said it'll make your luck turn bad. Well, I was tired of that lifestyle. I wanted something new. I needed cash to hit the road with my neon tattoo. It was midnight at low tide and I set out alone. Thought I'd make one big score before I blew that town. I slipped right through the power plant fence, slogged out to the flats. By morning light I'd be gone, the tide would cover my tracks. The fog rolled in to hide me from that old telltale moon. Between mud and mist there was only a fool in his neon tattoo. By headlamp beam the worms appeared to cast an eerie glow. Writhing in a throbbing mass, they almost seemed to grow. The tide's low ebb had made the sea look like a bubbling boil. I paused to inspect my captives, the fat fruits of my toil. These buckets full of lower life, plucked from the ocean stew, meant big bucks for the one who wore the neon tattoo. The tide had turned against me, it was lapping at my feet. I hoisted up my buckets to take up my retreat. Just a lonesome figure wrapped in the fog, in his boots in the muck. With the sea rolling in, I found I was stuck. My mind raced in panic. What can I do? Little hope remained for the neon tattoo. Water rose up to my knees, water to my hips. A stream of profanity spouted from my lips. What is this life we're living but a trail of sorrow and pain? I wished I could change the past and do it over again. Was it greed that had brought me to this ugly moment of truth? Or was it the curse of my neon tattoo? As the level of the sea rose up, my buckets overturned. I found I was surrounded by all my beautiful worms. In through my collar they swam, and out through my sleeves. As one worm would enter, another worm would leave. I felt strangely alive, at the same time facing my doom. Me and my worms and my neon tattoo. The ocean took its victim into the roiling churn, and somehow in the mixture I turned into a worm. Now I haunt the mudflats, rising from the slime. Part man, part worm, part insane, I lead a life of crime. So if you're by the seashore, beware the lovely view. Just watch out for the worm man with the neon tattoo.